Hello, good evening. Welcome to Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, says it right down at the bottom of the screen. I hope you're all well. I'm really well, really happy, really well rested. Had a really easy going week this week. Got loads of painting done, loads of hobby stuff done. I haven't got half the stuff done as I wanted to have done because I've been doing lots of stuff unplanned, but that's my life for you. I hope you guys have had just as much fun as I have this week. I hope you got lots of hobby stuff done. There's been loads of stuff out there on Facebook this week. Lots of people getting loads of painting done, getting loads of making done, and that's what I like to see. Hopefully lots more to happen tonight. Got some people coming in the live chat. We got Leslie saying yo yo yo, I have no yo-yo but I'm here. Interesting Danny fact, I'm a champion at yo-yo. I'm not, I just made that up. I'm sorry. Keston saying hi, Adrian saying evening, or Luke saying salve. I don't know what that means. I don't even know what language it is, but back to you, bro. And then Jeff saying oi oi, thanks very much for keeping it simple. Cheers. Salve. I don't even know if I'm putting an accent on unnecessarily. Apologies to anyone whose language I've just completely butchered again. Moving on. Okay, if you're new here, this isn't a tutorial by any stretch of the imagination. This is literally just a painting club where you can come and hang out with those lovely people over there. You can hang out with me as well, watch me do some painting, join in with some painting yourself, ask for tips from me, from those guys, maybe share some stuff, maybe get some praise you're looking for, or maybe just, you know, kind of have some background noise while you're getting on with your hobby, clearing your big old pile of shame, because that's what I use this for. It's just, actually, that's a lie. I go and buy more stuff and then I just tell everyone that I bought stuff and haven't painted it. But you know, I've had some victories, which is great. If you're new here, don't forget that you can also find us on Facebook. Somewhere here, there you go, which is one of our most active platforms out there. People putting pictures up there almost every day, so please pop along there, maybe give us a like, maybe give us a follow. You can find us over on Instagram, where we've had a couple of new followers, so thank you to those people that have come along and joined in the Easy 8 community over there on Instagram. Welcome to the community. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, place. That's wonderful. Luke's redacted the message, so I wonder, have I upset someone? I'm so sorry. If you do like what we do, please give us a like, give us a follow, and if you are so inclined, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. We've hit 40 subscribers recently, and it's my 40th birthday on Sunday, so I'm absolutely over the moon by that. So thank you very much for everything that you've done. Next week is our end of the year show. We would have been running for 52 weeks. I don't know if that is actually like a calendar year or whatever, but 52 weeks sounds like it should be, you know, the benchmark. So yeah, please subscribe. Let's get more. Let's get another 40 for next year. That would absolutely make it for me. It would be wonderful if you would. So yeah, please subscribe. That would be great. Thanks very much. Yeah, if you do want to get involved over there in the live chat, these guys are pros. They've been coming in since the beginning. You should get over there and chatty with those guys. Would love to know what it is that you're up to tonight. So if you're painting something, making something, or just along for the chit chat, please let us know what's happening. I want you guys to be talking to me more than I'm talking to you. Please do talk more. Cool. I'm going to tell you what I've done this week. I'm going to show you what I've done this week, and then you can hold me accountable for not doing what it is that I was going to do. So last week and the last few weeks, you all know that I've been painting some Skitarii ranges, just 5 of them, and it's taken me well over a month to do it. But I'm pretty much there. They are, for all intents and purposes, done. Did it over the last couple of days. I wanted to get them done over last weekend, but actually, there have been some big developments here in my house and my household, my life. They affect everything. It's all very positive. There's a bit of sweet tang to it, but it's all very positive changes. So there have been some celebrations and hanging out with the people who, you know, are affected by these changes. So I haven't been able to spend the time immediately into what I was doing last week. So apologies for not getting that done when I said I was going to. Not that it really matters, but you know, I like to be faithful to my word. So I've been doing them over the last couple of days. I've also had a maths exam. When I did that, it was just like a little test exam. It was kind of, yeah, went well. And there's been some other bits and pieces in there as well. And just spending some quality time with my partner because we got the time to do it. Have managed to finish them. There are some things that still need doing to them, but I am pretty happy with them. They need gluing. Put my teeth back in. They need gluing together. I haven't done that yet. I was going to do it on the show. I'm not entirely sure if I want to do it. Maybe I'll do it a little bit later on. They need a bit of a matte varnish. The reason I haven't really considered them done is because I need to put the insignias on them, and it's all a little bit weird. It's not as straightforward as what I'm used to with Space Marines, for example, where they have an emblem that goes on a specific shoulder. They have an emblem that goes on a specific shoulder, and then there's some numbers if you want to put them on there, and anything else in between. These guys they're all irregular. They've all got some weird stuff, and I think that I just make it up as I go along. But I'm going to do the research, because it'll be really bad if I go, oh, it turns out that you don't make it up as you go along and it's very specific and I just didn't research it properly. That would not play on my perfectionism very well. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got everything correct, everything right, and then I'm going to put them on there. I also, because I've chosen like a homeworld for them, there's a specific icon that is for that homeworld, and I wanted to make sure that if that is an available icon, that I put it on them, because it's kind of nice to do that, right? I'd like it certainly on vehicles. So I don't think it comes in the standard set of transfers, water slide transfers for these guys. So if not, I'm going to see if they should have it, if they shouldn't have it. If it comes in vehicles, do I get some extra ones in vehicles or whatever? Or do I see if I can get it from a third-party provider? Because there is the mightybrush.com, who are a water slide transfer creator, third party, and they do really good proxies and just generally good stuff. So you should go and check those guys out. There is no link. I wasn't expecting to talk about them. It's just kind of dialogue that's coming out. But after the show is broadcast and it saves, I will put a link in the description to this video. So go and check those guys out. They are really good if you haven't heard of them before. They do lots of stuff. I think not just for 40k, but for loads of things. Yeah, it's cool. Go check them out. So I'm going to put the water slides on them. What I'm a little bit upset with is when I was painting the cloaks on them, is that I kind of shaded the orange colours with a brown, which doesn't just kind of render them, shade them, and kind of add depth to them. It also makes them look a little bit weathered. It's kind of a two-in-one thing. So when I put these things on, they're going to be really bright and they're going to stand out, and I'm going to have to like restain them to try and make them blend in. Now, if you remember the staining I did on the cloaks, I'll show you in just a moment. I'll go to the workbench. The cloaks at the bottom I'd really heavily stained, and I wasn't very happy with that. And I tried little ways of kind of reducing that by applying a little bit of alcohol to them. It wasn't really doing a very good job, so I stopped it before I ruined them. But I've managed to correct it. Not as well as the effect on my first miniature that I did on the Skitarii Marshal, but I used some pigments. So I've got some Vallejo pigments, again I'll show you up close in a second, and I just dusted them on because the colour orange is very close to one of these ochres that I use, and it's done a very good job at kind of blending it all in. So there is the possibility that once I get these transfers on there, I kind of do a little bit of restaining with a little bit of browns, and then I kind of weather them with a bit of pigment, and they should blend in nice. And it wasn't one of those things I was thinking about when I just like get eager to get some paint on them. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, and then they just need a little bit of matte spray. I've also got to do the rims on the bases. I've been doing the rims on them like a nice dark red colour, like a nice, is it a crimson? I think it is, or like a gore red. And I'm not sure if that's a colour that I want on them, because they're all very, very heavy warm colours. They're oranges, there's a lot of reds on there, a lot of ochres, and there's some scarlets, and it all seems very hot colour temperatures. And then there's golds and things like that, and the only cool colours are a little bit of their overalls, which don't really show up that much, and a little bit of the silvers, which kind of just, they're like a neutral tone really. So I'm wondering what colour I want to do the rims on the bases. I like to do colours on bases. I like to make sure that they are painted, and I've been kind of toying around with greys and things like that, which would look nice because I've got some grey rocks and things on there, and it's just a nice colour that kind of ties everything a little bit and just makes everything else pop. So above the sort of base level, above it, everything kind of is then ejected. I'm just using strange words now. You know what I mean. I want to set the whole piece off. My Tyranids works really well. I want to find the right colour for these. So I was thinking about a nice real flat matte black, and I've seen some really nice ones out there. Haven't got a really decent flat matte black. When I say flat, like I'm almost talking like ultra dark grey. I know that there's one in the Games Workshop. I've seen one be used for that very specific purpose. I was like, that's a really nice effect. I like the fact that there's no gloss to it at all. I could try and achieve that by painting a really dark grey. Don't have any dark greys. I do have Basilicanum grey, which is obviously a contrast paint, so I could play around with that, but obviously, like we spoke about last week, that requires colours behind it for it to affect. So What I might do is just paint it black and give it a matte varnish, and that'll be it for now. I like it to be a colour. I don't want it to necessarily be black, because black to me feels unfinished, because we know that the bases are a black plastic. So there's a little bit of psychological play in there as well. I'm not sure yet what colour I'm going to do. I thought about maybe doing some like blues because of the overall colours on there, but then blue just might be too much. See how my brain works? So any suggestions to them, I am all ears. Throw out some good ideas for me. It would be nice to have a cooler colour temperature on there, because it kind of offsets all the warmer colours and it lifts everything up and kind of plays into that thing very well. Anyway, let's show you a little bit. So here we go. I've lost my thing. Here it is. Workbench. Cool. I've been doing this for a while. So I've left it zoomed out today because I'm going to be bringing some bigger items in a minute. I just thought it would be a great way to start. If you want me to zoom in, then please let me know. So here are my little guys. Yeah, they're all done. Isn't it wonderful? I'm still... Even though I'm really happy with the way that the bases on them have turned out, I still feel like I need a little bit of practice just to make them look a little bit tidier. But I've really got the pigments to work well. Recently in the past, pigments are something that I wasn't going to pursue again, but I did because reasons. Hey, shoot me. And it's worked really well. What it's done really well on is dusting the rocks and things that I put down there. I'm a big fan of astronomy, and I'm really kind of fascinated by the planet Mars. So for these, a lot of my inspiration was my interest in that planet. Excuse me. So I wanted to kind of create similar vibes. And if you see a lot of pictures on Mars, you'll know that there are sort of big grey rocks that the dusty red earth kind of covers, and I wanted to kind of emulate that. So I've got some cork rocks on there, painted them grey, a nice light grey, and then I stained them with basilicanum grey, and it worked really well. And then I just dusted them with some pigments, and it came out really, really well. I've only got a couple of the big rocks on some of them. Let's use this one here because it's a really clear example. So yeah, you got some big rocks here. There's a big rock there. There's a big rock there. They're grey ones, and there's a big rock just beside the monopod, the rest for this sniper rifle thing. And there's a couple of other stones which come from a little pot of stones and sand that I got from years ago. And I just went through and selected some nice sized rocks. They are like a browny tan sort of colour. And I just stained them with some seraphim sepia and a little bit of agrax just to kind of give them a little bit of colour differentiation. That's even a word. And then lots of various stainings with browns and things going around things to make them stand out a bit. And then you can see that there's some really nice matte pigment effects of all the different oranges and ochre colours and whatever. It still needs a bit of perfection. It still needs a little bit of tweaking, but I think I'm almost there with what I want. And obviously I've stained at the bottoms of their legs and cloaks and things. And as you can see, the cloaks have really tamed down again. I am really, really happy with them. I think they're really cool. I want to be a bit more elegant with the way that I paint them and the effects that I get out of it, but generally these are a nice little start into the Skitarii lists. Like I said, they're not glued yet. Some of them are quite tight fits, but this one here, for example, is really, really loose. So all it's just going to be is get a little bit of alcohol on the end of a cotton bud, just here, and then just put them in there, and just literally just the friction of just kind of rotating it with alcohol will just take that first layer of paint off, and again on top of the leg pieces, just like that, and it'll leave bare plastic, bit of poly cement, and job's a good one. Job's a good in. I can't even be colloquial now. Right, so yeah, that's those 5 guys. I'm really happy with them. They were so much fun to build, and even though it took a long time to paint because I just procrastinate, they've just been really good fun. So yeah, my Rangers. As you can see by the colours of the base, that's, even though they're a little bit messy, they would need a bit of tidying up even if I was to keep that colour. You see that colour plays really well with all the colours on there, but if I had a colour that would make them stand out a bit more, do you see what I'm saying? I think it'll be a really good idea. And I could use, where's the colour that I use? This one here. Nope, alien purple is not the colour. I've got it's almost like a wolf grey. It's not a wolf grey. It's a very subtle sort of purpley grey that I used for the overalls, and then I stained them with an army painter wash called Blue Tone. It's a really good filter colour, and it got the colour of the overalls almost bang on from what they are in the book. It was really, really good, and it was such a simple process, and I hit it almost first go. So I could use that. I just don't think it's the right colour for it, so I'm in a bit of a quandary about it. There we go. It's got some really cool lenses in there. I'm zoomed out so you can't really see it all that well. Anyway, some comments going in. Luke says that it's hello in Latin. The V is said like a W. Oh, salve. Okay. Hello. I spoke in Latin, but I translated it for you. That's how good I am. It's a dad joke. I'm sorry. I'm not even a dad. Let me just pop these little guys away. Oh no. Just throw his legs around. Sorry, fella. What am I going to do next with these guys? I've got 5 guys left in the box that these ones came from. So Vanguard, they're very similar. They just look a little bit different. I'm going to give them some carbines rather than long rifles. And yeah, there's going to be... They've got cloaks, not full like hoods, but they've got like cloaks and things. So they're still going to have the big orange play on there. Lots more metallics kind of showing through, I think. So I'll see how much faster I can make those guys, because the idea is to paint them up quick and kind of get them done. Kesslin, oh sorry, Chris the Wolf says, hello, hi Chris, thanks for coming along. We actually met for the first time, not met in real life, but you know, on video feed. Normally you join in at Discord, but you came and showed your face. It was great to see you. Put a face to the voice that I hear in Discord and to the text on the show. Welcome back. Kesslin says, I've just finished a Battletech HPG building. Yeah, I saw it just before we went live, and I put a little fabulous comment on there. It looks really good. You can clearly see that all the stuff you've been buying for them is all 3D printed because of the layer lines on there, but I don't think that detracts at all from what the objects are, and you've got quite a collection of them as well. You've painted them really well, especially that hangar. Man, the detail on the inside, you've painted it quickly with with lots of effects, so well done. It looks really good. What I'm really quite keen on is on the outside. You've got those little lights. Was that a part of the model, or was that something you stuck on yourself? Because they were really cool. Leslie says, okay, I'll talk. I promise. I'm doing the last layer of paint on my board. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, I'll be looking forward to seeing these boards finished. Kirsten says, posted pics on Easy8 Facebook. Thank you very much. Leslie says, dude, I'm loving the base. Look at it. It's cool. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. Thank you very much. I say I've still got a little bit of tweaking to make it not look like it's painted, to try and make it look really realistic, but it's all like new effects and things that I'm not used to playing around with. So it's just a case of practice, I think, and hopefully by the end of my army, I'll look at it and go, well, now that I've finished all my army, I've now learned how to do everything, so I've got to start all over again. Jeff says, would be tempted to go with a colour close to the red earth. Oh, so like almost like an orangey ochre sort of colour. Weird. Okay, cool. I say weird, but yeah, you know what I mean. Maybe, I know orange, see, because I'm already using orange on them, and it'll be, I don't want it to blend away or be a part of the colour scheme. It needs to send it a little bit. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've got a light orange. Maybe I'll use a light orange. Maybe maybe even a Dayglow fluorescent orange or whatever. No, it's too much, right? Too much, because that is bright, man. That is really bright. Okay, Kirsten says, bought little LED bulbs to add for the effects on some videos. That is commitment to the hobby. Well done. It looks really good. Okay, so why was I so late in in getting these models finished this week? Because I have been playing with some other things, because we all know that I can't just play one game or make models for one game. I've got lots of stuff to do. I ordered a load of 15mm MDF laser cut buildings for the 15mm tank games that I play. I play a couple of 15mm tank games, but the one I play the most of is Water Tanker. I talk about it almost every week now. It's absolutely cracking. It's such a laugh. And me and my dad, Jeff, who's in the comments there, the live chat, sorry, we've been playing a little bit lately. I've been teaching how to play the game. He's really good, especially with a tiger. That thing's scary. And we play around a lot of things like trees and things like that, because they're easy terrain to have. He made them for me as just quick stuff chuck in a box. And though it's great fun, we thought that actually the game would take on a whole new level if we played it in and around streets. So yeah, I went on to foreground.co.uk. I haven't put a link in the description, but I will do later on, because I got to it really late last night and didn't update the description, so I'm really sorry. I'll talk about that later. So yeah, basically I've been building these things. They are absolutely brilliant. They are 15mm, so there's not a massive amount of detail in them, but they don't need to be, because like I say with the 15mm stuff, it less is more. You don't need to have it. And these guys are also pre-painted as well. They cost a bit more than the usual stuff that you would buy. So from TT Combat, for example, they do a very limited 15mm range. They're the best competitor. A lot of their buildings are sort of 10 quid each, which is an absolute bust. If you want to fill a table, go and get your stuff from them. They're not even £10 each. You get like 3 for a tenner, so they're really good. But the detail is a little bit less than these, and these are pre-painted. Not much, but enough to add a little bit of variety to it, and it's all like a nice soft palette as well, which you'd expect from sort of Normandy World War II. They took me some time to build. They were extremely detailed. Every single lintel, every single windowsill were all little bits that all had to be glued in. And the best thing about it, though I probably make very little use of it in the games that I play, they are all... you can remove the roofs on all of them, and you can go down floor by floor. So if you did play 15mm games like Flames of War, where you have troops, you can make use of the fact that the buildings come apart. And they were really easy to build. They just were a bit time consuming. They took me a couple of days, couple of hours each. Yeah, and it was just PVA glue. And yeah, look at them. Look, it's just fabulous. They're absolutely brilliant. And the best thing about it, on the back of the piece of paper, the instructions, are some faded posters and propaganda posters. So you can just like cut them out. They're all printed to scale, and you can put a little bit of PVA glue on and just kind of put them on there. And because they're faded, they don't stand out like some punchy laser printed stuff. It's such a wonderful touch. They've got road signs, posters, adverts, whatever. Brilliant. So this is the first one that I saw. I was like, yep, gotta add this one to it because it's a nice simple house. It's got a little bit of, you know, I like the front, nice detail, and you know, backs, fronts ever so slightly different. So yeah, that was cool. That was the first one I built. Then the second one is this one, which is just a nice touch to the, you know, the shape difference, some traditional roofing. But 2 different houses, obviously semi-detached terrace here, and again you can just, well, this one's a bit tighter, but you can just pop the roof off and you can work your way down through the floors. Isn't that amazing? They're really cool. And he also makes them in different scales as well, so if you wanted these in 28mm, it does them as well. So yeah. And if you wanted to, you could go even that little bit further, and you could cut the doors up, put little hinges on them and all sorts of stuff if you wanted to. I did mess this one up a little bit, and I put this piece on the wrong way around, so if you can see, if I get it in the light, you can see there's like a little strip of PVA glue there. Whatever. If that bothers me later on, I can just put a bit of matte varnish over it, but I don't think I'll bother. Who cares? I also did it on this side as well. Yeah, I was a bit rubbish on these ones. There is some problems with them. They don't fit together as well as I would like. It is easily correctable, so if you wanted to spend some time sanding them down, you can see that these dormer windows here, they don't slot together so well, even though they've got like a little recess to sit into. They don't match up so well on there. Look closely at the pictures on the website or on the instructions, and you can see that the same is true on there. The chimney on this side fits perfectly, but on this side where the roof is a different angle, you can see that it doesn't match up quite so well, but who cares? It's for what we're going to be doing. I'm not really looking at the buildings. I just wanted something to run my tanks around. So yeah, I'm really happy with these, and the detail in the little brick bits on the top of these windows up here, on the lintels, fantastic. It's cracking. So that was the second one that I built, and then the third one was a bit of a beast. So yeah, here we go. This one. This is a 3 terrace with a little tunnel. The tunnel's got, if you can see it in, if I can bring the light in. Yeah, so we've got some crazy paving going down there. The bricks go all the way down inside through this archway. It's cool, man. Because it's so small, the laser cutter has kind of etched this brickwork in there. It does peel away a little bit, but it kind of adds to age and, you know, a little bit of deterioration perhaps on there. It's fine. If I was bothered about that, I could just get some colours to match it, just paint it in, and it would hide it much easier. When I was building this one, because the floor comes in 2 pieces at the bottom, as you can see, they're matched up with this kind of tunnel here. They weren't quite flat, so unfortunately, it does have a little bit of a tilt to it. But again, it's negligible. It really is. All of the roofs are in one section, so it comes away, and you can see inside there as well. And then you can go right down to the bottom in there as well. And right, for advertising purposes for him, foreground.co.uk. It's definitely worth going to have a look at. Just to let you know, while we're on that subject, I'm not sponsored in any way by Foreground. I haven't even spoken to them, but I'm going to, because I want to develop a nice relationship with him where I can talk about his stuff and yeah, I think it'll be really nice for him. So I'm really looking forward to playing some games in and around these, and you can set them up into little streets. So you could have a little terrace here, a little terrace there, a little T-junction. That'd be cool. And if you wanted to, then you could get your little 15mm tanks out. Here's a tiger, and then you could get really visceral and make some noises, because that's the noise that a tiger tank makes. Yeah. Aren't they fantastic? They're absolutely brilliant. So that's why I haven't been doing a lot of painting, or as much painting early on in the week that I wanted to, because I was having an absolute crack with these guys. So yeah, foreground. I'm just going to pop these just over here, because I keep putting them on the floor, and when I move my chair back, I'm going to crush them. And that would crush my heart. There we go. So yeah, foreground. I'm going to pop the tiger over there as well. I haven't really had a chance to play on it, but I also ordered a mat from Tiny War Games, I think it was. The name has evaded me. I checked it just before the show went live. Tiny War Games. I got a cloth wargaming mat. This is a 3x3 foot mat for grass, if you can see it from the top corner there, my little screen. Yeah, and the quality is okay. It's really affordable. It was £29. The grass looks a little bit pixelated, but when you look at it on my screen, it doesn't look that bad, does it? So I'm hoping that once it kind of sets some terrain up on it, that it will kind of blend away. It won't really be much. I've got a neoprene gaming mat that my dad bought me as a gift. It was a cheap, affordable version, but it's really, really dark, and I quite like to have a lighter version so that it might kind of offset all the bits of terrain and the vehicles and things that are on there. This is cloth, so it's obviously got a bit of a hemline going around it, and it has been folded in the post, so it has some creases in it, which I'm hoping will iron out. But this was a really, really cost-effective battle mat, which you can store up as small as a piece of paper effectively. So yeah, again, I will make sure that there are links in the description if you're interested. These guys do anything up to like 8 foot square, I think, in various materials. So they do cloth like this one, which is really affordable, neoprene, which is a really good quality rubber, obviously used for wetsuits, etc. And then they also do a rubberized matte version, which is quite expensive, but I'm informed that it is one of the best materials for doing that sort of thing in. So if you've got a bit of money you want to spend it off, if you want to spend it, then then you can buy some better quality stuff. I said spend it off because I just read Chris the Wall said Danny's showing off his new toys. Showing off, spend it off. Yeah, cool. Yes, you're right, Chris. I've bought some new stuff, and I want the world to know that I've spent my money. Okay, so the subject of the tanks. Now that I've finished those guys over there, sure, they've got a little bit work left to do on them. What do I want to do next? Well, I've got a couple of Tyranids that still need finishing off. But actually, it's been about a year now, almost to the day, since I received this Panther in 1/35th scale. This is why we're zoomed out, really. Because I haven't finished it yet. And it's been sat there waiting for me to finish it, and I come back to it every now and again. So yeah, here I am. I'm going to pursue this now until it is done. I've got a lot more time from work. I've had a few days holiday and things like that, and I've still got some more time off coming. My contract changes soon. So I'm looking forward to just be able to spend some time and get it done. It's accumulated a little bit of dust, so before I do anything, I'm going to kind of give it a little once over. I've been talking to a few people online saying about how all their 1/35th stuff's coming along. Yeah, I'd love to know, because there's a few of you that were doing it. I'd love to know how you guys got on. Adrian was doing a King Tiger, Darren was doing an American truck. I'd love to know how you guys are getting on, have got on. Have you finished them? Yeah, send me some pictures. I'd love to know. So what I was doing with this last was the camouflage colours. I can see what the problem was the last time, and I know that there was a problem. Was that I was having problems with my airbrush, and it was making the patterns come out a little bit spatty, and you can see, for example, here there's some overspray. I'm not really worried about it. I don't know if it is showing up on the camera, but there's some overspray here and in lots of other places. And the green colour I thought was really, really light, too light almost. But I went to some real pros on some Facebook groups that I follow, and they said don't worry about it. It was actually really quite bright anyway. and once you put some filters and things on it and weather it, it should dull right down. But I do have a couple of grades of that colour because I've got the modulation set for it. So I'm going to try and focus a bit more into the darker side of that modulation so that I get the colours that's kind of in my head. The pattern, however, I quite like it. I don't really know what I was thinking about this kind of three-way bit on the top, but it works for me. It's really good. What I'm particularly happy with is the pattern on the side. I think that looks really cool. And someone sent me a picture a little while ago of a Panther G, and it had an almost identical pattern. I was like, oh, check that out. There's me being cool. I think it needs maybe a little bit of red over here in the corner. So maybe I'll kind of get on that. And when I was storing it, this fell off, which is the side skirt from the other side. And here you can see that I was having some real problems with spray and consistency and things. But you know, I have recently fixed my airbrush, or cleaned it out really thoroughly. So I'm hoping that we should get some really nice effects with it. Yeah, it looks really good. Once I've got all the camouflaging on there, I've got to go through and do some more pin lining, washing whatever in there. I did a lot of it early doors, but then I thought, well, I'm going to put some camouflage on it, so I kind of need to stop doing that really. And then I can do some weathering on it. I can get the tools and the spare tracks put on it, and then it's pretty much ready to go. So yeah, got to get some iconography on it as well, so I'll do that before the weathering. Yeah, pretty happy. So first things first, I've got to get this side skirt back on there. So that's what I'm going to do. Adrian says, you'll know when I finish mine. All my modelling is currently on hold while I settle into my new job. Yeah, tell me about it, man. That's, yeah, work. It gets in the way. The cannon also falls off a lot because I said it before, but the contact space on here to the inside of here is very minimal. Like only one tiny little spot. So I've got to try and get that to fit in properly. Don't know how to do it. It doesn't want to push in so far. Don't know why. Maybe if I bring that down a bit. I don't want to push too hard and then break it. That'd be rubbish, wouldn't it? Maybe if I just glue that bit there. Maybe that's what I'll do. What sort of play have I got in there? A little bit. Let's give it a go. I'm gonna do that now. Easy 8 gluing club. Leslie says, anyway, I heard you mention earlier that alien purple isn't the colour. Alien purple is always the colour. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Oh, man. Every time. This is such an old glue thing that it's... the glue works fine, but it actually clogs the cap up. Let me just... Easy 8's glue chewing club. Kids, don't eat glue. Right. There we go. Yeah. Let's get rid of that. Man, keep it a dried glue. Please get off of me. I'm getting anxiety. Thank you very much. There we go. Right. So, because it's got such a small contact space for this bit here, I'm actually going to plop a little bit on this palette, and then I can use a stick or something to kind of dab it onto. But on here, on the cannon, not so fussed. So I'm actually going to be quite crude with the amount that I put on here. So I'm going to give this a go. I'm just going to pop quite a dollop. Yeah, more the merrier, really. And then I'm just going to squish them in. Right. Don't mess with me, do you? Just get glued. Right. Now I'm going to pop a big bit of glue over here. There we go. And I had some skewer sticks here somewhere, didn't I? Where are they? No? Have I lost them? Oh no, they're down here. I've got them. Here they are. Lovely. Skewers. This is what I was using for the wheels. So let's just move that to a side. Put that over there for a minute. And now I've got to try and get this glued onto here. I really like how the tracks and the wheels came out. There's so much effort went into doing that, and I had to do it a couple of times as well. Right. A bit of a dusting off while I'm here. It's not too much dust. It's a dusty house though. It's because I don't hoover very much. What are you going to do? Easy 8 Arts and Crafts Part 2. There's too many vowels and similar sounding phrases in that for me to want to say that more than once. Easy 8 Arts and Crafts Part 2. Very difficult. Okay, so these little efforts here are what glue this side skirt on. So I'm just going to make sure that it lines up properly. Okay, so there's any problems I can't remember that I had. Lovely. So I'm actually just going to trail a line all the way along. So I just dip that in here. Here we go. So if I pop a little bit of glue on there. There we go. Little cat hair floating into the scene, because you know it wouldn't be an episode without cat hair. Discovered that actually my cat has been sleeping in the studio a lot recently for some reason, because you know cats can't be consistent, can they? This is actually too much glue, but I got to the point where I want to finish the tank, trying to be as good with it as I possibly can. But if this has fallen off once already, you know, I don't want to take any prisoners. So I'm just kind of, you just stay on there, man. No holds barred, kind of gluing without, you know, with being as responsible and as pro as I can about it. And it will show up as a little bit of artifacting. It'll be a bit shiny and you'll be able to see the glue. You know what I'm talking about. You'll see it sticking out. But I can kind of hide that with, you know, layers of varnish, or a layer of matte varnish should hide most of it. Again, just going to put a bit more glue down there because I don't have enough. What I don't like is when you put a bit of glue down, and then you put your piece down, is that you end up smearing the glue around if you don't get it lined up perfectly the first go. That I find it quite frustrating, and it's something I've never really got better at. I dry fit everything where it needs it. Most pieces need dry fitting. But I still always mess it up. Anyway, there we go. That's that done. So it's about here, isn't it? Leslie says, "You saved the skewer sticks. You're a hero." Yeah, man, save everything. Cats are law. Cats are life. Yes, they are. She's my mate. She's cool. Okay, that wasn't a bad lineup. That was good. That was a good line. Hopefully, it's not going to kind of droop and kind of just go like that. What I want to be careful of when I'm doing the camouflage is not get any on this red end over here. I wanted to make this bit look like that, you know, that bit some damage, maybe a shot's kind of come in, hit here, destroyed some wheels or the side skirt over there, and people have replaced it. Often, especially later in the war, replacement parts were just kind of, they weren't repainted, they were just kind of made to get out there. Jeff says, mud hides everything. Mud is a terrain maker's friend. Yes, yeah, you're right. I wanted to, if you remember, I wanted to keep the weathering on this quite limited. I wanted to show off a little bit more of the model, rather than kind of getting stuck in too far. So while that is an option, it's an option I'm going to keep quite low key. Lovely, and we are on. Beautiful. I'm also going to try and bring, you can see this masked off area where the camouflage just stops abruptly because obviously the turret was there. That's something that's on my mind as well. I'm going to get straight in with some red, I think, because I want to neaten up what's on here, and I want to maybe put a little bit on the end just down here. So I've got like a, you know, bit of red green, not necessarily in a particular pattern, being quite random with it, but I want to bring a little bit of red focus down there. and maybe a little bit over here as well, and just neaten everything up that's already on there. Just get back into painting this beast because it's awesome and I love it. So yeah, let me get my colours. Here we go. So these are the colours that I was using. German camouflage from AK Interactive, with the light shining on them so much that you can't see anything. Here we go. Modulation set has two colours or two hues, and then in there it has modulations of those hues. I just found the olive green base, this one here, just really quite luminous. It was really quite bright and I didn't want that. What's on my tank looks really quite close to light, which isn't where I want it to be. I want it to be quite dark. So I'm just going to make sure that it's mixed. So I've got my little mixing pot just down beside me. I'm just going to make sure that it's really well shook, and just see if it changes the colour, because it might be that I just didn't shake it well enough, and that's why I bought this little gadget down here. You're welcome, Chris. It makes my fingers go funny if I hold it on there too long. I don't like it. So yeah, it is still quite a bright colour, but we'll see. The pros were saying that, you know, it'll change with more stuff that I put on there, so I'm inclined to listen to them because they know what they're talking about and their stuff is beautiful. Right, so here are the colours. So I've got olive green light, and I've got olive green shadow and base, and I'll put the base in the middle because I like it all to be in a nice order. I'm going to go back to the red brown, because that is the bits that I was talking about. Just wanted to neaten up. We're doing a lot of spraying again. It's nice to get the old airbrush and the bit of paper out. And I'm going to drink this cup of tea. It's not a very good cup of tea. I don't have my special milk, but it's tea, so it'll do. It'll do. Right, let's move that palette over there. Oh, that is not the best cup of tea I've ever made at all. Right. Let's go to this side, because this is the side I've just glued on, and it means it has a chance to just rest without, you know, having just set with some glue. I don't want it to be leaned on. And I'm going to give it a dusting in here. Dusting, dusting. Lovely. Cool. I got my airbrush. Lovely. Going to need a bit of paper to slide in underneath that skirt there. So I've got another piece of paper. I have several. So what I'm going to do is, you can see I actually got straight edges on there from the last time I've done this. So the idea here is just slide a piece of paper in, and that protects all the wheels and anything from any kind of overspray, because that would be disastrous. I'm actually deliberately leaving the wheels uncamouflaged because I've seen a lot of example photos from wartime where they are painted in the camouflage, and just as many without. So I just thought, you know what, while I'm learning, I want to keep it simple, so I did. Yeah, that's that. I'm going to get my airbrush and I'm going to put some drops of this stuff in here. Again, I'm going to give this a good mix on the mixing machine as well, so bear with me. There we go. Give it a good old shake. I also like to give it a shake as well. And then I'll give it another buzz. There we go. Lovely. Don't know how much I'm going to need, but I'm just going to put a couple of drops in for now. It's like half a dozen, maybe. Maybe that's a bit more. I don't know. And let's just have a little go. There's quite a bit of air coming out. I want to turn that pressure down, I think. Where am I? That's about 30 psi. I think down to about 20 will probably be more than enough. Let's have another little practice. perfect control. Right, I'm going to take the little nozzle protector off the end so that I can clean it nice and easy when I need to. And okay, let's push this back up. There we go. Right, so my first area of tension is going to be on this little bit here. So I think that's quite scraggy. It's probably the worst bit that I've done. Scraggy, that's my word. Unfortunately, you can see there's a little bit of texture there where I just accidentally added a bit too much paint, but the edges of that camouflage are neatened up and I've added some opaqueness to that colour, so that is really good. I'm happy with that. I've got this next bit over here where it comes down in between two green bits, so again I'm just gonna try and get in nice and close. Because the closer I get, the more finer detail line I will get. And I can kind of fill it in. I can see it drying on the end of the needle. So I'm just going to give it a quick wipe. That's why I like to remove the little needle protector on the end. Much better. Being quite precious because I'm trying to be as neat as possible, so I don't want to like go over the lines. But we'll get there. We'll get there. I can take that away now, I think. I'll get rid of that cat hair because we don't need that. That's an unnecessary part of the model. Thank you very much. Right. Let's bring it back down here. Bring the light into the side. Lovely. Yeah, it's a bit wonky from the glue in, but hopefully it won't be that bad. Okay, now neaten up the side here and add a bit of opaqueness. Make sure I get on all angles because this tool rack that's here has an edge this side and it hasn't got any of this red on it, so nice and gently going to get in there. Making sure that I haven't ruined that side skirt because it looks like I have a little bit, but whatever. I'll make sure it fits eventually. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow this line up and I'm going to take it past the mask point there because I think it looks terrible. Whether that was actually something that happened on tanks, it probably did. I don't want it, so I'm going to hide it. I only have to go right up to the turret ring in there because obviously the turret will hide it. Let's clean the end of my needle again. Lovely. There, that's pretty good. And now I've got this little bit here where I came up the side just a second ago. Flow on the airbrush is so much better than I remember being in the past, so clearly I've done something right there. Could perhaps do with putting a drop of flow improver in, just to help prevent it from drying so fast inside the hopper. It's drying on the needle quite quickly. It will do. The flow improver should help prevent that a little bit. It's not as good as actual paint retarder, but I don't have any retarder suitable for the airbrush. I bought some in error for normal brush. It's a shame, but it happens. It's actually been handy for doing brushwork, so I can't complain too much. So yeah, where would the turret come down to? The turret would come to here, and you can see that I've brought this line down here, but I'm actually thinking I might take that back all the way into here as well. Why not? Again, what I'm doing now is I'm just adding opaqueness to what already exists. Making sure that the edges of the colours have some real definition and not too faded, because I want them to be quite stark. And I've got quite a splash and a spider web bit over here, or a spider leg, where it kind of goes, nah, not cool. So I'm going to hide that by just extending the camouflage out just a little bit. There we go. And now it makes it look like it's deliberate. Leslie, they're saying it looks killer. Thanks, man. I'm really proud of this as well. Like, there's so much more on it that I could do better, but you know, I know I'm learning, and I'm okay with that. I really want to improve, especially on this sort of painting. Like the Skitarii, they're for fun. Oh, this is for fun as well, but you know what I mean. Lovely. Turn him around and extend this little bit of pattern over here. Leslie, if you're into painting game boards and things like that, you might benefit from an airbrush. So you know, if budgets are tight and you can't afford one, see if you can pick one up somewhere, like cheap, maybe second hand or something like that, or just see if you can find yourself a budget one. Because if you're doing terrain, you don't necessarily need like high detail or anything like that. It might be worth that little adventure. You never know where it'll take you. Of course, you do need to have specific paints for the airbrush, as I spoke about many times before. But if you know what sort of colours you want to go for to achieve terrain things, then you can just go out and buy a couple. But of course, some people like just working with a brush, don't they? You don't have to do it. Even if it does get the job done faster, some people just enjoy the process of, brushing on paint. But I'm going to be careful about not going down too close to the wheels down there, because I don't want to go on the wheels. And we are pretty close to having a break. I'm just going to do this little bit here, I might go and replace this cup of tea because I'm not kidding, man. It's awful. It hasn't got my special milk in, but there's no need for the flavour that is coming out of that cup. I call it special milk. That sounds like a child's thing. Special milk. It's. I have a soy milk, but it's especially formulated for people who like their tea to not taste like soybeans. There you go, that's looking alright, isn't it? It's looking like some sort of Japanese flag now, like the circle in the middle and lots of, you know, arms coming off. So yeah, that's all of the colours on here, bolstered, if you like, to make them look more opaque, which is definitely something I wanted. And then when I come back to these reds, I can start adding a bit of modulation. So in areas where you can see, like for example, this bit here is darker, I could make this bit of red here darker, and if it gets really bright in the corner, I could add a little bit of brightness over there as well. And I've gone like darker tones towards the back of the tank, so yeah, I can kind of focus on a bit of color modulation here as well. It's great. I'm going to make sure that my colors on the turret are all nice and opaque. I'm going to do that during the break as well. So yeah, where's my little intermission screen? I've lost it. Cool. Make sure that my airbrush isn't all clogged up. There we go, give that needle a bit of a wipe. I think that cannon is glued in proper good now. Wonderful, that's what I want to hear. Get rid of that dust, lovely. It's nice to pick up this tank again. I really enjoy doing it, but I really should have had it finished such a long time ago. It galls me to think that I've had it for, you know, almost a year to the day, and it's still not near finished. It's unacceptable. Lovely. Some nice opaqueness to the camouflage here. Wonderful. Still got a little bit left to go. Get away with your dust. Bye. Leslie says, I do have one that my dad gave me. He used to use it with his industrial air compressor. Truly scary thing. But in all seriousness, I'll bear what you said in mind. Cheers, mate. Yeah, no troubles. If you're interested in talking about all the different brands or whatever, if that's something that people want to talk about on the show, then I can. But it is, you know, fraught with opinion. So I'll give you my opinions if you want to. Where to find them, there's everythingairbrush.com. They're a really good place to start. That's where I got my stuff from. I hear a lot of people talking about them as well, in good ways, where they get their stuff from. So yeah, you can see kind of what appeals to your budgets, to your needs, and generally to your style. Nozzle size is also, I mean, that sounds really rude, doesn't it? Nozzle size, child friendly, Danny. Nozzle size, actually, I've discovered recently plays quite a big part in airbrushing. There are different diameters, and obviously the smaller the diameter, the more fine this sort of work that I'm doing right now can become. So you can get some really fine detail lines and stuff for, you know, doing fine detail bits, obviously. But with such a small nozzle, it's much easier for it to block. So one of the reasons I went with this particular airbrush is so that I could learn a little bit more freely without having or the problems that might be caused by having a smaller nozzle. Sorry. So childish. My goodness, as well, if I had some problems with the airbrush, as have been documented on this show, with blockages and all sorts. I think that just kind of comes down to maintenance, you know, and care. And though I wanted nothing but the finest care for my airbrush, it is a learning curve, and you know, it's taken me a long time to kind of learn how to do it properly, and I thought I was doing it right, so it's been frustrating as well. Yeah, cool. Still got loads of paint left in there. I only put a couple of drops in. It's going a really long way. Anyway, look, now's a really good time to have a quick break. So if you need to go and stretch your legs, refocus your eyes, go freshen up your cup of tea because it's awful. Leslie says what she said. Yeah, fair. Let's leave that one there, shall we? Now's a good time to go and do those things. You should definitely go and change your paint water. Make it happen. See you back in 10. Bye-bye. Welcome back. I'm stood at a bit of a weird angle because I haven't actually gone for a break because I got carried away. I like airbrushing, man. Hope you had a productive break. Just holding things a bit weirdly, so while I'm in this position I'll just make the most of it. Bear with me. Bear with. I've just added a new bit of camouflage at the back of the Panther, but the airbrush is definitely requiring a bit of a clean, so a good opportunity to do that. Okay, lovely. Yeah, I didn't get to go and replace my cup of tea because I had a lot of paint left in the airbrush. Before I get too far on that, I want to put some camouflage. If I hold it, where can you see it? Here you go. I want to put some camouflage along the end of the cannon, so that'll be something I'll focus on a little bit later on. But because it's such a long, thin piece, it's like trying to do any kind of detailed work on a like a pencil. Essentially, is really difficult. So I'll come back to that in a minute. I'm gonna do some more green and stuff on the tank here. Gonna do exactly what I was doing with the red. I'm just gonna fill in those lines, make it a bit more opaque. That cannon seems to be holding, which is good because it didn't hold last time, obviously. Let me just clean this bad boy out. So give it a bit of a purge. There we go, lovely. I had to put an extra drop of paint in there just to finish off that last little bit, so I know that it's empty now. Just clean off the nib. The nib. Always clean your nibs. No, we're going back down that road again. Let's not do that. Right. So there obviously I gave some news earlier on about what's happening with the studio here, Easy 8 Studio, over the next couple of weeks, going into the end of next month, and the changes that are occurring here in my house, in my life, and it's basically my housemate who watches the show, which is great. Thanks, dude. Has been my best friend since school, so before college, before university. I never went to university, but he did. I've known him for about 27 years. Yeah, easily. Yeah, we're best friends, and about 13 years ago, we moved into this house, and it's been a house share ever since. We had another friend, Keslin, was just over there, who lived with us for a good portion of those years as well. And he's got a partner, I got a partner, we all co-share this house. Mark has got a new job. He's super skilled, super qualified, and is basically taking his leave of this house. Is moving down to the South Devon coast to pursue his job down there. Only a couple of hours away, so I still get to see him, and as often as we can make the journeys and things like that. It's kind of emotional because we've been living in the same place for such a long time and playing games, and we're very like-minded, which is why we get on so well. So there is that bittersweet tang to it, as he likes to put it, which is that we're not going to be cohabiting anymore to kind of have the bachelor pad that he once was. But we both have partners. They're all long-term relationships, and they all deserve a little bit of space, so we're going to benefit from that as well. And his job is taking him places. So with him moving on, it obviously opens up a lot more freedom in the house here, which is a nice side of it. So it means that I'll be able to relocate the studio into a room that I think might be better for it. Maybe. Certainly I allow this space to be opened up for better uses. And it's going to mean that I have a permanent studio. It's some time away yet. Mark still is a resident of this house and will be for at least another month. So once he moves on, though as sad as it will be, will offer me a little bit of freedom with this with the studio. It means that I'll be able to use my desktop, which is great because at the moment I do run this off of a very capable, but it's nowhere near as formidable as my desktop is a laptop. And with that come a few issues and things. It means that I can't put a lot of power into the quality of the broadcast, which hopefully will change when I have that desktop. It means I'll be able to have an environment that I can set up permanent things like paint racks and all sorts of things like that as well. So that's something to look forward to. I don't know how the program will change. I don't know if it will be for the better or for the worse. Who knows? But we've got to adapt. We've got to change. Obviously this is the penultimate week for this year. I'm going to volumize the episodes for Easy 8, so 52 weeks, 1 year, volume 1. So next week will be the last week of volume 1. It's kind of exciting, where we've been running for 52 weeks and we've not missed a single one. We've had a couple of days here or there where we've had to put it on a day earlier or a day later, but that's fine. We're doing it once a week. That's great. That was my promise to myself, and I'm glad we've made it all the way through. So it's been really, really cool. Next week is not going to be on Friday. It's actually going to be on Saturday because there are just lots of things happening next week. It's obviously my birthday this Sunday. Lots of my friends aren't able to meet me until next week, but then the Friday is going to be actually my boss's birthday. So I'm going over to see him. It's going to be like it's not a co-birthday party, it's a party planned for him. But there's just a lot of stuff going on. So next week we're going to be on Saturday, same time, so it'll still be 7 till 9, and I'll still do a little bit of the Easy 8 after party as well on Discord. If you're not a part of Discord, you should definitely get yourself over there. So yeah, just going to be putting it to Saturday rather than Friday. So that'll be the end of volume 1. How would you like to see changes be made to this show? I'm always going to be prioritizing a Friday. A lot of people said to me, oh, can you do it on a Thursday, or can you do it on a Saturday, or can you do it on a Tuesday? Fridays just generally work better for me and around my life. So unfortunately, if you're one of those people, it's one of those things that I can't accommodate to as a part of the general running of the show. Sorry. I get that it's not always going to be a hit with everybody. But it's nice to have it on a Friday as well, because it's the end of the week, right? And like Kyle always said, it's nice to have that thing to look forward to at the end of a busy week. Chill out with a beer or whatever beverages that you want, and just kind of paint with your friends. But if there are things that you want to see more of, things that you want to see less of, be it my face, my voice, if you want to have more guests on the show, do you want to do more tutorial based stuff? I'm not a pro, but I'm more than happy to kind of learn how to do things within the realms of my time and budget as well. What do you want to see of it? Do you want to see some merchandise? That's something I've been looking at. I've not put a lot of effort into it, I have to admit, but if that's something that you guys want, then is that how we grow? Do we turn this from a community into a community and product as well? So I'm happy to consider all these things. Hit me up with all your ideas. Put them down in the comment section down here. Have a chat with it over here with all these guys. Hit me up on Facebook. Talk to me on Instagram. Get over on the Easy 8 after party over at Discord. All of these places that you can talk about. Obviously, every week I always put it up in the link on Facebook, saying that we're going to talk about the community spotlight. We haven't done things like that for a long time, just because basically it's just been a busy part of my life that I haven't had the time to really kind of go out and talk to those people and ask for permission and use their photographs and talk to them. And also, it was something that we did with Carl, who hasn't been around for an awful lot of the show in the last 6 months, so it hasn't felt necessary. But if that's something you miss, I can put it back in. Anything, hit me up with it. It's your show, it's your community as well as it is mine, and I'm all ears. So if you've got any suggestions on how to make Easy 8 different to suit your needs, tell me. If you're happy with it all, let me know as well. Right, I think that is a cleaned airbrush. Wonderful. Or as they say in Latin, wonderful. Yeah, translate it for you again. Such a stupid joke, I'm sorry. So, going to move away from the red colour that I've been using, and I'm going to go back over to the green colour. And I'm going to bring this tank. No, do I do the turret first? No. I'm going to do the turret first, because it gives that side skirt a bit more chance to set. I still think it's going to come away a little bit. It looks like it is. Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. I'm going to super glue that bad boy. Let's go back to the workbench, shall we? Boop. There we go. Oh, I've got a hiccup. Excuse me. Okay. So, going to be going to olive green base. So you can see that the red colour is nice and stark. Nice and opaque now. This bit here is green. It's quite hard to see actually, the difference between the green and the yellow here. It's quite difficult. So yeah, I want to make sure that I'm getting some nice contrasts here. Give that a shake. Give it a zizz. Leslie says, I really wish you the best on this new part of your venture. Thanks very much, man. I'm really excited. I mean, for the most part, I think Easy 8 is going to stay the same, I think, generally. Obviously, I want Easy 8 to grow. It's a slow process. Any YouTube channel is. I'm not here for the likes, solely for the likes. I'm not here for the subscribes just so that I can earn money. That's ridiculous. It's not what I've made this for. It's a hobby. It's a passion. And this has just been a really happy part of it. But obviously with, you know, the house opening up a little bit to a single couple is going to add a lot more opportunities to the show as well, and just to my hobby. And all the best to my housemate Mark. But he's not left yet, you know. We'll say goodbye to him later on. Right, green. That is a yucky paint pot. Let's clean that up. Let's find my... Where's my crappy brush? Where is it? Where, there it is. Let's move this out of the way. Let's give this a scoop. Oh, it's actually dried on there. There we go. Scoop that off. Let's put that onto the palette over here and get that out of the way. Lovely. Okay. Got a tissue here somewhere. I have a tissue. Come on, where has it gone? Oh no, I cleaned up, didn't I? Okay, let's give that a wipe down. That's better. Cool. Right, let me just dry that brush. Even though it's a rubbish brush, I still like to look after it. Make it last even longer. Okay, to the airbrush then. So, okay, I'm just going to put like, I don't know, 10 or so drops in here. There we go. And I am just going to put 1 drop of flow improver in. Be careful with how much other things you put in there, because it does dilute it down. It does make it very watery, and then you'll get like overspray as well. But of course I've put something in there, so now I have to mix it up. So just give it a good mix. Wring those bristles out. Let's give it a clean. Problem with moving, of course, from this room to another room is that I've got used to it. Been in here for 51 weeks now. 51 shows. I've come a long way. I'm still really rubbish at, you know, live stream broadcasting, but it's so much fun. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to start on the back here just to get a bit of practice with the flow, because this one actually behaves, this colour behaves quite a bit differently. So nice opaqueness to that colour. It's such a gentle pigment, it's really quite hard to see where it's going. And you should be like that with an airbrush anyway. You should be like taking your time with it. Layer upon layer, so it's quite easy to get lost in just kind of blasting a colour out. It's the same with the brush, man. Take your time, layer it up, make it smooth, make it thin. Okay, so we've got nice block colour there, but you can see now the difference. That just looks like one tone, green, but you can see the grades here. That's like over a period of several attempts. You know, one colour, a dark colour at the top, light colour at the top, and then transitions in between. So you can see how different that looks. So yeah, it's important to get that modulation in there. Of course, real tanks weren't modulated in their colours. This is just it's a hobby technique to kind of add some sort of flavour to it, really. I'm sure I've spoken about this in the past, but it's something that actually came out of anime, Gundam, things like that. painters painting those sorts of things to add just a little bit of depth and flair to their creations. Started modulating the colours. So historical painters kind of got into it too. It's not realistic, but it does add another level to it all, which is great. There we go, nice bit of colour there. It's actually going on quite well. It's just really quite brighter than I expected. So yeah, it's going to take some getting used to. I've really got my tongue sticking out as well, if you can see that, but I'm really like... What's this? Jeff says, how about dancing girls in the break? You've asked for it. I'll see what I can do. Might lose some subscribers, might gain some. Ah, man, just got some spatter there. Let's clean that needle. That's better. Fortunately, all that spatter went actually into the area that I'm painting, so no damage done. This one is having a habit of kind of spitting everywhere, and it might just be the paint. It might just be because I've mixed it with that flow improver, so it might be a bit more watery. And there's probably a tiny bit of paint somewhere on the end of that needle. Yeah, I can see it just kind of coming out there. Trying to remove it as best I can. It's coming out, so it's stuck inside the paint chamber. And it's coming out through the nozzle, and it's just making it kind of spatter. I'm not happy. Come on. All right. That was quite restrictive. I'm trying to move that needle backwards and forwards in there, so there's obviously a little bit of paint drying somewhere in the paint chamber. If I come down really close, I'm not getting that tight line that I was getting with the red. It's just going to take a second. That's better. Hopefully it will stay. That's smoother. Okay. Come on, green. Doesn't want to play at all. Lots of dry paint flakes coming out. It looks like it's all green paint flakes as well, because it could be any colour, but obviously it's going to get painted inside the paint chamber, so it's hard to tell what part of my evening has affected that. It almost definitely is red paint coming out in the green there. It's dried inside that paint chamber. Now I wonder, I've got a little bit of a pattern going on here at the bottom of here, so you can see that I've made this line that comes down, and then it kind of goes down this way over here. So just where my fingertip is, there's like a little bit of the colour modulation from the yellow, and I wonder if that's like a Y shape that is reflected over here, or if it was just one bit. Yeah, is it? So yeah, it goes down here. I turn it up onto its side. Yeah, one bit goes down here, one bit goes down there. So I want to keep that little bit of unpainted bit there and not paint over it. So it's quite important. But important, you know, in terms of my paint scheme. God dear, this paint is being a bumhole. Quite difficult, this bit, because it's coming out really slowly now. It's building up that colour so slowly. Just trying to be careful. Right, okay, so I've got the turret done. That's all those colours built up nice and opaque. This is clearly, you can see here how spattery that's kind of coming out. It's absolutely not okay, so clearly that needs a really good clean. I've seen some people put their airbrushes into water and then just kind of give it a clean, bit of a blow through there, and I can actually submerge the hopper. And I can tip the hopper out. Obviously a lot of paint's going to come out with it, that's fine. Now it's flowing alright. Obviously that wasn't good enough, was it? So let's give him a purge. Easy 8 purge club. No, not to the bum hole paint. Stop. Tongue sticking out, sign of a true master hobbyist. Yep, sign of a perfectionist hard at work. Let's get a bit of cleaner. I'm just going to put a bit of neat cleaner in there. I don't like putting neat cleaner in all the time. It's a very good way of just going through an expensive product, but sometimes it just needs it. Wonderful. Okay, pop that back over there. I can hear it's not so great. So, ever so quickly then, I'm just going to strip him down, give him a quick clean. I noticed earlier on, one of my ways of giving the needle a quick, try and clear any blockages, give the needle a quick nudge, so just loosen it off here, pull it back, push it back in, and when I pulled it, it was quite stiff and tight, which means that there is paint accumulation inside. So that's the nozzle in there. I push this forwards to prevent dragging it back through the system, and that is tight. Okay. You can see brown paint on there, and I'm looking for any kind of dry paint on there. I can't really see any, but it is quite caked. So, take the back bit off, take the trigger out, and I can see clearly through, but there's a little seal in there. You can just see daylight through it on the camera, but I can see there's quite a clog. So I've got some cleaning wires, and basically I'm just going to push them through and just try and shift anything that's dried on the inside. Now, I think one of the areas of where my airbrush has taken a beating over the years is that. Yeah, you can see lumps on the inside there. So anything like that is just awful. Yeah, that little bit just in here, just inside there, there's like a little screw, and it holds a little seal in place. And through not knowing how to use the airbrush correctly, and how to kind of get in there and give it a clean, I think I over tightened that little bit once, and not necessarily overly damaged it, but have kind of misshapen ever so slightly the little seal in there. It still works okay, but the actual screw itself, because it's brass, is soft. I think I've actually just damaged the screw a little bit, the insert where the screwdriver would pop into, and that I think is an area that can accumulate paint. Shame, but you know, it happens. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop a bit of water on there just by dipping it into the paint water, and I'm just going to run it through backwards and forwards like that. And now, because there's water in there, I can't see anything at all. Completely reflects or refracts the light, but yeah, whatever. Now I can see through a little bit. I'm looking for big chunks coming out. It will happen. Okay, that's looking much better. So, let's give the needle a clean. There's a lot of dry paint on the needle end up here. Obviously, this is the tip that kind of sticks out through the end of the airbrush itself, and I can feel a lot of scratchy resistance on this cotton pad on there. So there was some dry paint, and obviously about here is where it sits in the paint chamber, and this tiny little bit over here is what sticks out at the end. So this area is going to be in contact with paint all the time, and if it's drying in there, it's going to dry on this needle. Yeah, there it is. I can see it all there, and as it dries, paint accumulates on that then dries, and then more paint accumulates, and it snowballs basically. So it's really important to make sure that you're cleaning the airbrush regularly through use, in exactly the same, or for exactly the same reasons you would when you're using a brush. Paint's going to stick to paint, it's going to dry, it's going to accumulate, and it's going to snowball out of control. So yeah, paint retarder helps prevent that. It stops the paint from drying so quickly, but it does water down your paint. It's not going to change the hue so much, but it's going to affect the opacity. Right. When I put this back together again, it's important to put it together in a special way, so I don't, if there's any paint left inside the paint chamber, which I'm kind of cleaning out now, a bit of cotton, gross, look at all that that's come out. If I put the needle through in one particular way, it's going to drag paint through, all one way. However, I have to go through the wrong way, because there's more danger of bending the needle tip, and that can do just as much bad. Let's get a little cotton bud in here. I don't like using these for this, but let's get it done. What I have done to clean it out really well is I just drop it in isopropyl alcohol overnight. That really cleans it up. Thanks, Darren, for that advice. I can see a big lump of something right in there. Easy 8 cleaning club, brilliant. Right, so I want to go this way through, because if there's any paint in here, it's going to be pushed out the back rather than dragging it through backwards. But I actually have to go in this way because the needle is so fine on the tip that if I was to even remotely touch it, I probably could damage it. And again, that sort of effect can really snowball. However, I've got to put the trigger in first, so the trigger's got to go in here. so that's threaded through. Wonderful. Now I've got to pull the needle all the way back because I'm going to put the nozzle head on now. And this is another area where I could end up damaging it. So the nozzle's going to go on here. That's all nice and tight. Okay, now I can push the needle forwards and I can see it poking out through the nozzle tip there. And now the back bit goes on. This is a little bolt that holds the needle in place, and hopefully we've dislodged enough of the dry paint inside to carry on unaffected. This bit always takes a little bit of effort to get that bit threaded on. There we go. Make sure the the needle is pushing through. Just give it a tighten up. There we go. Put the hopper on. Put the needle back protector on. Hook him up. And let's see what comes out. Oh, that was all inside the paint chamber even after cleaning it. That's how hidden it can be. That was all close to the back where the nut is. Okay, so a quick bit of neat cleaner. This should help dilute anything. Actually, I've got a bit of paint inside the hopper, which I'll clean out in a second. Normally I would spray this into my purge pot, but I want to see what's coming out. Nothing really. Okay, cool. Just going to give that hopper a bit of a clean. Using this is one area that I really show my noviceness at, is airbrush-ness. Shut up, man, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, cool. Jeff's put in a comment. Here is the question for the hive mind. I have to make a mould beehive. Wow. Mould beehives. Make and mould beehives from Iron Age Germany. Not a clue what they would look like, and Google is no real help. Fantastic. If you guys can find pictures of beehives, natural ones I'm assuming, or are you talking about like beehives, like man-made beehives? Specify. Find pictures and flood Facebook for them, and write for Jeff on there. That would be great, because I'm interested to see what you come up with. It'd be great. Look at that, the community pulling together, helping each other out. That's what I love. Okay, I'm going to go back in with some more green. Olive green. I've got a weird highlighted box on my screen to get rid of that. Thank you. There we go. Oh, this day is just going so fast. It's already 9:15. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm putting 5 drops of that. I'm not going to put flow improver through for now. I just want to see how it behaves without that. Because this green, and I remember doing this before, I'm sure it is the green paint itself, just flows so much freer, so much faster than other paints I've got, and the red especially. It's crazy. It's really hard to control. I can't get such a fine line with it. It's really watery, so I've got to be really soft. This side plate is not staying on. Damn you. Excuse me. Right, so I'm trying not to bring it so far into my paper because it's covered in cleaner and paint, so I'm just going to work my way on the front here. Do this little bit of camouflage on the front. So I'm just trying to redefine the edges and make the colour opaque. I don't want it to be so wishy-washy. I'm really taking my time with this colour. Because it's so thin and fluid. Already getting a bit of a blockage in there. I wonder if that's because it's drying on the needle tip. It certainly looks like it. Gosh, crazy paint. Spattering already. You are really pushing me to the limit today, airbrush. It's not your fault, I know. Poor little airbrush. It's the paint, man. It is not behaving. maybe, here's a risky one. So I've got flow improver, I've got paint retarder. Paint retarder will obviously stop it from drying so quickly, but this isn't a liquid, this is like a gel. So if I put a drop or two of this in here, it might actually thicken the paint. That's not something I ever thought I would do with an airbrush paint, but I'm going to give it a go because why not, right? If I've got to clean the airbrush out properly, I might as well do it for a reason. Doesn't want to come out now. There we go. It's quite a bit I put in there by accident. I'm going to put in some flow improver in there as well. And I'm going to give it a really good mix. I just want to see what difference this makes. I could totally ruin everything here. I'm also going to put in another drop of paint because I think I've used quite a bit of it already. There we go. Well, I'm really quite intrigued to see what happens here. Well, it's dried up on the nozzle, that's for sure. Oh, Leslie said, it's a good question. I'll look it up later to see if I can find some pics for you, Jeff. Nice one, he replies. Easy 8 narrating club. I can see a lump sticking out the end here. Let's see if this is one of the reasons I like to use this tool. A little spiky thing here. So I'm just going to see. I can just scrape it out the end of the nozzle there. It's like it's in the tip protector as well. It's kind of weird. It's not behaving. Gotta push the needle backwards and forwards and see if that helps. Got a little air bubble. Alright, bubble. Flowing a bit freer. Bizarre. Really taking quite a risk by trying to paint that straight onto my tank. This is not behaving. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to crank the pressure up. Let's push it up to 30. I'm going to push it up to 40. Let's see if it just kind of dislodges anything. Making it flow a little bit better, funnily enough. Probably because the flow of air is so strong, it's actually just bypassing, just flowing past the blockage. Well, if it's going to work, it's going to work, so I'm just going to be very careful. That's being so random now. Crazy. Is that even doing anything? It is a little bit. Okay. Okay. I don't feel so bad now. A little bit of debris stuck on the side. Hello, debris. What's that? Let's get rid of that. I don't want that on there. Thank you very much. Okay. Nice and gentle now. Come on. Behave yourself. Oh, this is so hard. So hard work. It's the nozzle, I'm sure of it, man. Oh dear. Anyway, we're getting pretty close to the end of the show today, now, guys. So, yeah. I don't know why I've come away from the workbench, but I suppose you don't want to sit there looking at me just cleaning the end of this nozzle out here. I pushed the wrong button, what can I say? But we are only a few minutes from the end. So, yeah. One of those things, it's a little bit frustrating when this happens, but there's not a lot I can really do about it. It's just, I have to keep trying to clean the nozzle. So I'm just going to put the airbrush down. Hopefully it's not going to leak everywhere. And then pop the nozzle protector off. Yeah, there's a lot of caked up paint inside there as well. The actual screws head itself is okay. Let's give that a little bit of a clean out and use my brush and just kind of get in there. It's another reason why I like to always have a rubbish brush. They're pretty good for just being quite brutal for cleaning. Just kind of stick the bristles right inside in there and give it a twizzle, see what comes out. I really like the manufacturer of airbrush that I've got, but I often wonder if I've made a good choice in terms of all its tiny little detail bits. We know that German manufacturers are renowned for being highly engineered. Is it a bit over-engineered? I don't know. I don't really want to move away from it because I'm really fond of it, and I like German engineering. I think it's really good. I'm sure any other brand that I would use could have its pros and cons as well, and it's just about learning to tackle them. The trouble is I'm such a noob, I don't actually know what the problem is to start with. That's the problem here. Is it definitely this problem? I don't know. But I'm going to carry on working through tonight. I'm going to be... I've got some super glue on the end of that. There we go, let's get rid of that. Not on the end of my airbrush, on my spiky thing. I'm going to work through for a little bit into the evening. I'm going to be over on Discord on the Easy 8 After Party. If you are not a part of the Easy 8 After Party, you should be. It's great fun. Come on over and have a chat with the guys over there. It's my 40th birthday on Sunday, so come and wish us a happy birthday. He says, trying to force some friendships. Even though I feel like I've not made a lot of progress tonight, it's nice to be back on the train running again with this tank. I know what I've got to do. The end is in sight, and I'll be happy when it's done because I've still got the box in different. I've got like the bottom of the box, the top of the box, holding different components spread out all over the house, and yeah, so it'll be nice to finally get rid of that paraphernalia. It has a man to go with it if I want to. I don't think I'm going to do a man. I think I just want the tank, you know. Painting dudes is something that I'm not ready to paint yet. I will be for sure. I'm more interested in the actual vehicle itself. What about you? Are you interested in the guys as well, or are you more of like a static vehicle display? Do you like to see scenes? Do you like to see the guys, the tank crews and stuff? If I was going to paint a diorama, then I'd be more inclined to put the guy in it. Also, man, people are really hard to paint, right? Okay. Is that bit clean as well? It might be. Okay. Nice and gentle. Let's pop that all back together. Let's see if I get a nice bit of flow. And if it flows well, I knew where the problem was, right? Let's put the airline back on. It's flowing better. There we go. I got it. Yeah. Just in time for the end of the show at least. Let's see if I can get some colour on this little bit here. Danny is happy. All is okay with the world. Wonderful. Behave yourself. Always lets me down, this airbrush. There's always something. It never wants to actually fully behave. And I'm sure this paint is also difficult. Wonderful. Well, it's getting there. It's getting there. It's a really nice tank. It's a real beast, and I've enjoyed painting every second of it, even through the difficult bits. Once I've got all the camouflage opaque, and I've done the barrel of the cannon, and it's all kind of blocked in properly, I'll put a quick photo update of it on Facebook and on Instagram, because I haven't posted anything up there for a while. Once I've got the Skitarii ranges kind of completed, glued together and whatever, I'll put some pictures of those up. There is a picture of them on Facebook, but it'd be nice to see them with all their iconography and their bases completed and things. And I'll put pictures of those up on Instagram as well. So if you're interested, stop by over there, have a little look and see what you think. Drop us a like, drop us a follow, drop us a subscribe, because every little bit helps. Yeah, let's carry on with our projects and get them all finished, because that's what we're supposed to be doing, not cleaning out airbrushes every time. What have we got on here? Leslie says, I suppose you'll have some choice words for your airbrush and paint. Yes, over in the Discord. It's a no holds barred language area. As for the show is family safe. Discord, people say what they want, so bear that in mind. Jeff says, don't forget the bucket. No, the bucket is in a separate pile of sprues all upstairs in my living room. That is all going to go on there. I've got tools and things to go on there, so there's like some shovels, there's like a pickaxe, there's a tow cable and things on there as well. There's loads of spare track links and stuff to go on there too, so they'll all go on as well, and the bucket will go on the back. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting the bucket on there. It's going to be great. Leslie says, they are hard to paint unless you drown them in mud. What's hard to paint? Oh, people. Yeah, sure. Yeah, people guys. People guys. Please, Luke, don't put that on Discord. It's going to go on there, isn't it? People guys, as the Easy 8's word for people. Clearly it's been a long day. It hasn't been. It's been a really nice chilled out day. Feel like I'm back on track with this tank, which is nice. I would love to see photos of your stuff. So if you've been painting this evening, got a project on the go, let us know, and the community, how well you're getting on. Put pictures up, tell us what you're doing. If you've got any problems, ask, because we might be able to help you out. But if it's going really well, just get a little bit of praise. Why not? Put your pictures up there. So that's it from me this week. lots of stuff to talk about, lots of stuff to show off, lots of new toys. Definitely go check out foreground terrain, because if you want to fill a table really easily with some really nice detailed laser cut stuff in most scales, head on over to foreground.co.uk because it's cracking. I definitely want to get in contact with the guy because he's super cool. So yeah. Chris says, let's go insane again over at Discord, or just generally playing some games. If you're interested in playing some online games with me, I've got loads of free time coming up, so come over and have a chat with us. You can get in contact with me here in the comment section below, live chat if you're watching the show like these guys over here. Over on Facebook, I breathe funny, it's weird. You can get in contact with me on Discord. Yeah, man, I'd love to hear from you, new or old. Let us know what's going on in your hobby worlds. Until next week, the final show for Volume 1, the end of an era. One door opens when another one closes, right? So yeah, it'll be the last show for this Easy 8 year, for this volume, and then we'll be moving into Volume 2 and just carrying on with our hobby lives. Until next week, stay safe, be kind, keep on painting, and I'll see you guys next week, next Saturday from 7 till 9 GMT. Take care, bye-bye. People, guys, what was I thinking?